Welcome to the Eloheem Society. As we begin to explain the unexplained, name is I-9 Gabriel the 19th, and I'm here to explain about things. Introduction to this book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gift to man is life. Now man must realize that there are many stages of life that are a result of what has been caused by the all. This all is represented by the sound of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man was originally placed on the planet Earth to serve as its caretaker and praise his creator. Since then, he has strayed so far from the guidance of his creator that he now wonder who is his creator. Since then, he has strayed so far from the guidance of his creator that he now wonders what is his purpose. He recognized that in all other forms of creation, there exists consistency. But where is the function of man in creation? Does man feel that his material gains are for his spiritual pleasure? Or does he feel that his material sacrifice are for his spiritual gains? Does he have a quest? Does his quest travel down the roads of his fears, or does it climb the summits of his dreams? What are his dreams? Are they only man's hope for himself, or are they the wishes of others? Is he waiting for someone to tell him what his hope should be, or does he really care? Man is a very forgetful creature. Little does he remember that one day he must return to his Creator to be judged for all his actions performed on earth. Inna ilahi wa inna ilatu raja'un. Surely we are of Allah, and to Him we shall return. The state of man's existence can be best portrayed in the following parable. There's a long and dark tunnel. No one can see its end, but few. And its ends are sparks of light, flickering and twinkling, beckoning, calling out the direction towards it. There, at the end, lies a door unencumbered by time or space. It is the key to man's beginning. For man does not really know that he is now at his end. Hopefully, you'll be able to understand this after reading from Allah to man. If you have the Holy Quran, turn to the second surah and 164th ayat. And it says, most surely in the creation of the galactical heavens and the planet Earth, and the alternation of the night and the day, and the ships that run in the sea with that which profits men, and the water that Allah sends down from the clouds, then gives life to the planet Earth after its death, and spread in it all kinds of animals, and the changing of the winds and the clouds made subservient between the heavenly skies and the planet Earth. There are signs for a people who understand. Now we're talking about the real and the unreal of the seen and the unseen. What is science? According to the New Webster Library of Universal Knowledge, science means knowledge, comprehension, or understanding. Knowledge coordinated, arranged, and systemized art derived from precepts or built on principles. Science is a French word from the Latin satia, from science, the present particle of secure, to know. The word science is derived from the root siok, to know. The root is stemmed in the word conscious, which means having direct knowledge of a thing. Having such a knowledge is a conveyed by immediate sensation of perception. Therefore, science seems to be only the discoveries of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made available to man. For example, man became interested with plants because they were all around him and he began to study them. This study became the science or to know about plants. Botany. Man became interested in animals and began to study them. This study became the science or to know about animals. Zoology. Man became interested in his body and began to study it. This study became the science or now about the body of life. Biology. Man became interested in atoms and began to study them. This study became the science or to know about atoms or nuclear phys- physics, and so on. What is interested to know is that science seems related to the seen things, not seen because they are seen or observed through the eyes, but seen because they are seen or perceived or sensed through the five senses that scientists are certain that we possess: the sense to see, the sense to hear, the sense to taste, the sense to smell, the sense to feel. And since science involves itself with the seen, scientists draw a conclusion that there are seen reasons for everything under the sun. And if the reasons for some of the things are not yet found, they form hypotheses or theories until the conclusions are made. According to some scientists, we are products of evolution as opposed to the products of creation. Such irony. And then there's magic, which is called the basic sister of science. Alchemy, the magic of chemistry. Astrology, the magic of astronomy. Myth, superstition, sorcery, and witchcraft. What do they all have in common? As science is related to the seen things, those things perceivable by the eye, capable of being seen and apparent. Magic is related to unseen things, those things hidden from the eyes or understanding, invisible, mysterious, and unknown. Like science, magic also has its facts, hypotheses, and theories. Mesmerisms, necromancy, telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telekinesis, and mystical letters to conjure a friend or a foe. Range to put devils under one's control. Topaz to rid poisons, copper to rid of pain, silver to rid of evil eye in men. So, what is there to be confused about? There is little confusion in the seen things. It's merely to decide whether there was an evolution or creation. And if you decide there are both, where did one end and the other begin? What is the real of the seen and unreal of the seen? But in that which is unseen, there lies confusion. What is the unreal of the unseen and the real of the seen? In ancient Medes or Media and Persia, there was sect of priests, and they were called El-Muk, a Middle Eastern word which meant a priest. To most people, they are known as Magi, Magi. These priests were men of science and students of astronomy, science of the celestial bodies. Now, there were good magi and bad magi. There were those who worshiped fires. There were those who left the flesh of the dead to be devoured. They left the flesh to be devoured by birds of prey on top of high towers. There were those who changed the science of astronomy to astrology and chemistry to alchemy. And then there were those who developed the occult powers of nature. Now, nature has two courses. One belongs to that which man is more immediately surrounded by, that governs his actions, his motives, and his sentiments. This is the lower nature. The other course is toward the source of his existence in the universe, which rises above and beyond everyday common thought and experience. This is the higher nature. Everyone experiences both, but one dominates the other. When one saw a good magi executing his powers in the higher nature, he appeared to perform a great feat to the onlooker. And as time passed, similar performance became known as natural magic. And you can imagine the chain of events down to today. So you see, the magi were not called magi from the word magic, but feats were called magic because of the magi and what the magi did. Now, what is the difference between the real of the unseen and the unreal of the seen? Many people have been misled because they cannot see the difference between the two. Many can easily be fooled because, as you can see from the following charts, the two are very similar. The difference is the formulas or the prescribed words or actions that precede the end result. You have the positive side, which is purity, and the negative side, which is impurity. You have incense and incense. You have submission and control. You have disciples and disciples. You have chanting and chanting on both sides. You have sacrifice, and then you have sacrifice and blood. You have a higher nature and a lower nature. You have a soul and a spirit and a soul. You have angels and spiritual men. You have shaitans, jinn, demons, and devils. You have dependence. You have independence. You have immortality and you have immortality. You have discipline and you have discipline. You have growth of he and the growth of I, and you have guidance on positives and the negative sides. So you see, one can become easily confused and cross the thin line between good and evil, between the real and the unseen, and the unreal of the unseen. We hope that you will come to know what is the real of the unseen as you continue to read and see what is from Allah to man. Man has always been in search of real knowledge and wisdom. As this world is turning more and more towards the temptations of the physical world, man is forgetting that this state is merely a temporary state, and that the heavens of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the firm structure. Man has become lazy and lax in his everyday dealings with using his mind or with the wisdom bestowed upon him by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, entertainment to the world is now television, video games, radio, movies. Man no longer depend on his own imagination for anything. There are magazines which fulfill any topics you can think of, group gatherings which used to take place amongst the tribes of our people no longer exist because the mass media has everyone's mind occupied on exactly what they want you to think. Within a family unit, all members of the same family have their own entertainment, which does not include others. This is part of the disunity which exists in the world today. Man no longer depends on the earth or his good judgment for inventive ideas and making a livelihood for his family. He would rather live in a big city and work for someone else where he just take orders with wages, not even being paid to use his mind. This is what people have come to accept as life on earth. No more, no less. Man has become so detached or out of tune with the universe that the point where he no longer recognized the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm speaking about the great gifts to man which he now takes for granted. The fact that the rain still falls, the fact that you still breathe the breath of life, and that you will still no longer seek to give complete and gratitude and praise to the omnipotent creator. The fair seeming distractions of this world, the job of man on earth was to till the ground. That's in the book of Genesis, third chapter, 22nd to the 24th verse. And the sustainer, Allah said, behold, man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore, the sustainer Allah sent him forth from the garden in Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the garden, in the garden, cherubims of angels, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Upon Adam's exit from the garden, he was also ordered to drink water, to eat clean animals slain in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to build the masjid, house of prostration, by their abode, so that the khanas, the devil, would have no power over him. At this time, Adam was so also granted wisdom, the wisdom to survive the situations of the earth. The third eye of Adam was open, and he had the ability to re enter. This is the reason why the cherubims and his flaming sword was placed in the midst of the garden to keep Adam away. This same wisdom is mentioned even further in the scriptures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Torah, the book of Moses, Exodus 31:3. And it says, "And I have filled him with the Spirit of Allah, in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship." The book of Ecclesiastic by Esther, the second chapter, 13 to the 14th, in part. "Then I saw that wisdom excelleth follies, as far as light excelleth darkness. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness." The book of Ecclesiastics by Esther 2:21. "For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom, and in knowledge, and in equity. Yet to a man that has not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. Man has forfeited the light and wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for spiritual darkness and the practice opposite to the path of righteousness. Seek knowledge unto China. It was a saying of the Prophet Muhammad al-Amin, peace and blessings be upon him. What was the wisdom and knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala endowed man with? From the scriptural point of view, wisdom came in many degrees in the form of cunningness, understanding of justice, literal skills, ruling ability, moral discernment, and intelligence. Superior mental ability or special skills without necessary moral love. Wisdom was also a tradition as old as the societies themselves. Wisdom is a distinct practice of discipline through a way of life practiced by those who seek the pledges of the omnipresent Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, true wisdom and knowledge is not sought to be cultivated in men. A few seek these attributes at all. Having knowledge and wisdom or responsibility going hand in hand with Al Islam. You take the responsibility of passing knowledge to others. We're going to end this here. I want you to listen to it, go over it, and to teach it, and to put a pop up shop and do what you do. Sadaqallahu al-Azim.